Welcome to Global One Media Stocks to Watch. I'm Michael Suardo. I'm speaking today with Julien Davy. He's the president and CEO of a mining exploration company called Tarku Resources. They're focused on projects in the U.S. state of Arizona, as well as the Canadian province of Quebec. Julien, welcome back to the program.
Hi, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here.
Really great to have you. Listen, we're going to check in with you in a little bit about the latest news from your company, but I want to chat with you first about investing in general. We have a lot of relatively new investors watching this channel, some experienced ones too, I'd like to say, who maybe they could use a primer. So I want to kick things off by asking you a personal investment question. Tell us, when did you buy your first stock?
That's an interesting question. If I recall correctly, it was when I was an adult already working in the industry, in the mining industry itself. I probably bought the stock of the company I was working for. So probably not the best advice, but that was it 20 years ago, something like this, 25 years ago now.
Actually, I think that's pretty good advice to invest in the place where you work. It shows that you have belief in the product and what it does, and it means that you're also vested in its success.
Correct. It's a lot of education, I would say. You have to always to make sure that you understand the industry you're investing in. Make sure that you know the cycles. That's really particular in the mining industry. It's the cycle effect. We are these days right in a difficult time, in a down part of the cycle. So that opens other doors. I think we're going to discuss about that later, but you have to understand really the industry you're investing in. That's probably the best advice I could give.
Yeah, I think that's great. And if someone is investing in a new region, if they're interested in investing in Canadian stocks, perhaps they're not from Canada or haven't followed Canada so closely, what is the context? What are the things that you think they need to know?
Probably that in our countries, we know the rules. There are regulations, strict rules. It's a frame made to protect the investors, made to make sure that everybody understand and knows what the other party is doing transparently. So that is really safe for an investor to invest in a Canadian mining stock, for example. We are with Tarku. We are listed on the TSXV Venture, which is the small exchange of the Toronto Stock Exchange, the exchange made for small capitalization, and that these are exchanges that are regulated for issuers like Tarku. We have a lot of filings to do, a lot of rules to follow, so that the investors always know when the information is available, where to look at that information. It's all structured pretty nicely, actually.
We'll talk a little bit more about the different exchanges in a moment, but I want to return to something you said near the beginning of our conversation, which is about the cyclical nature of the mining sector right now. What in particular about that? I mean, right now, it's not really a boom time. What would you say to someone who's interested in investing?
I would say that one important word also, it's the timing. When you do invest, you like to come in at a cheaper price and to sell at a higher price. That's normally what you want to do. So I think the cycle effect of the mining industry, which is made because of the demand of commodities and everything that's happening in the world, and we all gonna need more and more commodities and raw material. We know that we consume them more and more, so we need them more and more. So the demand to extract raw material is there, but there are a lot of uncertainties these days on the market. So it makes that investing, it's probably one of the best time since a long time, because all the stocks are really low, cheap. In Quebec, for example, we know that there are going to be more and more investments in battery sectors. So all the critical elements, critical minerals are for sure in demand. We've seen a lot of negotiation and foreign companies, coming into Quebec to build new batteries. That brings a lot of pressure for the explorers to find new raw material and critical mineral deposits, and that's a reason why I believe the Canadian mining stock will definitely be a long shot and a long investment, really interesting. That's for sure.
I mean, I think you highlighted a couple of really interesting things there. One is like the basic investing advice of buy low, sell high, right? So if the stock is right now trading at a low value, or perhaps has a really good price to earnings ratio, it's a good time to come in. The other thing is you talk about the demand, right? The real demand for the product. And it makes me also think of like what Warren Buffett does, right? He invests for value, buy and hold. He's not a buy and sell type of guy. He's looking at the long term, what the companies are going to do, and saying, okay, the trend is here. This is where I want to invest. So I want to bring it now to something a little different, and this has to do with where one buys and sells a stock. So Tarku Resources, for example, is listed on more than one exchange. You mentioned the TSX Venture Exchange in Canada. You're also listed in Frankfurt. The stock is traded over the counter in the United States. If an investor is interested in buying your stock, should it make any difference which exchange they go to?
It's all yes. The answer, there is a difference, and there is a reason why we do are listed in different exchanges. It's because we are able to reach different people geographically. European investors don't have always access with their broker or their bank account to a Canadian broker or to a Canadian exchange. It's a question of where your bank is, how your bank is connected to the exchange. So it makes it makes the trade easier for a European investor to go on a European market exchange and to trade on the platforms they are aware of in Europe. The same in the US. Every country has its own regulations. So by having open doors for an issuer, we have all those open doors to different exchanges, and that helps the investors to reach our company.
That makes a lot of sense. So if someone's in Germany, obviously they might go to the Frankfurt exchange. If someone's in Canada or in the US, they're going to invest on the Canadian
Correct.
exchange. Julien, I want to ask you another question now about how people invest. And I'm curious whether you find when people are investing in Tarku Resources, are they more likely to go to a broker or to use an online platform?
That is changing. We know that historically, people were used to go through brokers because they didn't have access to online systems. But now we are in 2023. Everything is centralized. There is a lot of tools, a lot of platform. Each bank is offering its own online brokerage platform. So we see more and more, I would say, younger investors probably using online platforms. So they do their own due diligence themselves. They don't use an intermediate to do the investments for them. So that brings a different type of relationship with your shareholders, because before we had let's say a single connection with a broker that represents several investors or several shareholders, and we made some connection with this broker. But today we have more and more direct connection with individual shareholders, because they're doing their own communication and their own connection with the small junior companies. And that's really interesting because we have a direct feeling with the investors itself. And so it's a different type of education. It takes more time, of course, for us, because we speak more with the investors, but that's really part of our job, is to communicate the right strategy, communicate what is going on with the company. So for an investor, it's probably easier because it's a direct connection with the company they are investing in. And so that's probably the differences we see today.
You mentioned the importance of due diligence. What is the number one tip you would give an investor when it comes to doing their due diligence before investing?
Number one, I would say, again, understand the industry you are investing in. That's really important. We spoke about it a little bit earlier, but understand if we're talking about the mining industry, there are relations, there are opportunities related to the timing because of the demand. There are investment opportunities related to the cycles of the industry. So understand, that's probably the best advice I would give. Understand what are the realities of junior exploration. For example, there is a lot of difference for a small exploration company and a gold producers, for example. A gold producers, they are producing something, so they have revenues. They don't have the same type of cycles the junior exploration have. So that's a big difference in our sector, for example.
All right, I think that's a good segue to bring the conversation back to Tarku Resources now. Tell us, what's the latest? How's the exploration going?
Pretty good, actually. I'm really satisfied with the Quebec project we had. We did an interesting drill program lately that demonstrate that we do have a gold system along the structure, the regional structure we are looking for. Now we do need more exploration to find the real traps. Our neighbors also find the same gold system along the same regional structure, so we know there is gold there. So again, now we need to do, we have 8 kilometers of known anomalies along the structure, so we need to better test and to do more exploration to find the real gold traps. A little bit southern Abitibi, also in Quebec, we do have an interesting lithium project, really well located. And we know that with everything that's going on in the battery industry in Quebec, it's really, I think Quebec is really positioning itself as a really global player now, and the raw material demand will really be there in the next decades or more. And we finally have a really interesting, that's a district scale play for silver and base metal in southern Arizona, around the Tombstone area. And we do have now really specific targets that need to be drill tested. So different really interesting exploration project. Our capital structure is fairly tight. We don't have much shares outstanding. So I think with the low market capitalization we do have now, as we spoke earlier, I think it's a good opportunity.
All right, we've been talking about gold, about silver. I want you to imagine that you're walking into a lift with me right now, walking into an elevator. It is pitch time. Tell us, why is Tarku Resources a stock to watch?
Probably timing. Market capitalization really low. We do have outstanding exploration projects that are ready to make the discoveries. We do have gold along regional structure that are gold-bearing structure. We do have lithium in our portfolio, and we have also a district play on silver in all safe jurisdiction, mining-friendly jurisdictions with a low market capitalization. And we do have a team of geoscientists that are dedicated to our exploration.
All right, great pitch. Really appreciate you looking back with us, thinking about your first investment in your company, talking about the importance of due diligence, and about how mining is a cyclical sector and what people should be looking out for. It's really been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much, Michael. It was a pleasure too.
I've been speaking with Tarku Resources President and CEO Julien Davy, and you've been watching Global One Media's Stocks to Watch. I'm Michael Suedo.